Lunchtime Live.
Let's go. Hello, everyone.
Hello, and welcome to the Lunchtime Live from SiGNAL. Whoop, whoop. How you doing, Gareth?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. How are you doing today, Stu?
Yes, having a very enjoyable day. I've started a new fitness regime. I'm walking around the block, and every day I'm going to add another little loop in. So I'm going to build it up.
Lovely.
Build up my strength and walk off all of the comfort eating I've been indulging in. What about yourself?
Well, yeah, pretty much. It's going to be a lot of exercise. That's kind of the plan. I'm trying to sort of do a lot of exercise. It doesn't seem to be kind of going as I would have hoped.
Why is that? Is it the laziness that's getting in the way?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. I'm just far too lazy to actually do it, which is bad, I suppose.
Well, a little bit of good news since last week. Maybe you've seen, but the suit arrived.
Yes.
The suit arrived. I mean, it took about 4 days longer, but, you know, current situation and all that. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's like SiGNAL orange.
It is SiGNAL orange. It's beautiful.
I've also found a website which will make material that you'll send them a design and they'll make up some material and then turn it into a suit.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a minimum order though.
Oh,
so it looks like me, you, and the rest of the team might need to buy one.
Right. Oh, wow. That much of a minimum order.
Yeah. Might just be cheaper to buy a badge and just pin it on.
That's probably going to be the easiest option, I think.
Iron-on transfers.
Yeah.
So, lots of people I've spoken to over the last week, there's been a recurring theme running through what we're talking about. And it seems that either Netflix, Prime Video, or Disney Plus, other streaming services are available, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Is saving people's lives. Literally, you know, they're sitting there bored out of their brains and they're rediscovering classics that they've watched before or new things that are being broadcast. Have you got anything that you've been keeping you occupied during this lockdown?
Oh God, lots. So I've decided that my lockdown plan has been that I am rewatching all of the Marvel films in order, but in order of how they're meant to be played rather than in the order that they were released, much like the Star Wars.
Did you do May the 4th yesterday?
I did, of course, do May the 4th.
Yes, May the 4th be with you.
Yes. I will also be rewatching all of the Star Wars properly.
Cutting out all of the Jar Jar Binks stuff.
Exactly.
And the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Basically, that's kind of my plan, is just watch a lot of series in order. And I must say, I have been heavily addicted to the Vicar of Dibley, which is on Netflix.
Wasn't what I was expecting you to say.
Yeah, literally love the Vicar of Dibley. It's like my all-time favorite. I've loved it forever. So Vicar of Dibley for the win, definitely.
I've started rewatching House.
Oh wow, okay.
Well, I was watching a series on Prime about New Amsterdam Hospital called New Amsterdam, and they had to stop filming because of the lockdown. And the last one that they've released wasn't the season finale or the mid-season finale, and they had to sort of cobble it together from bits and pieces because they were introducing this whole new character. And so it felt a bit, at the end of it, felt a bit like, it wasn't a satisfying conclusion. So I leapt into House, which if you haven't watched, is several series, and it just gets better and better and better.
Yeah, I do enjoy, I love shows like that are kind of like this happened because this one thing happened, this tiny microscopic, this piece of paper moved slightly and a disease then was released into the world, which this person got. And yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Yes, last night it was a boy's dad had slept with his girlfriend, which that's going to make Christmas quite an embarrassing conversation, isn't it?
Yes.
Around the dinner table.
Yes,
but
yeah.
Anyway, I made a list of films that I wanted to rewatch classics. I'm just going to quickly run through them before we get in our guest.
Okay.
But these are films that I think that people should watch. They've got nothing. They're not silly. They're not connected in any punny way. They're just films that just, for whatever reason, they just absolutely give me the goosebumps or just take me.
Okay.
So have you seen Apollo 13?
Yes, classic.
Okay. If you want to see something that's even better, watch the film The Right Stuff.
Okay.
3 hours it is. You've got to strap yourself in. You know, it's a watch. But I tell you, it's every bit as good, if not better, than Apollo 13. So,
Okay.
are you a fan of musicals?
Love a musical, I do, must admit.
Oliver.
Okay, that is going back. That is a classic.
Lionel Bart, the musical, fantastic. Some great songs. And it's a really uplifting movie. You know, the boy gets adopted and, you know, it all goes right.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I suppose it's all win in that film.
The best exotic marigold hotel. You've got to love retirees finding love in an exotic land.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I plan to do when I get older.
And the final one, not a lot of people know this, but I love an animated film. Do you love an animated film?
100%. Big Hero 6, one of the best animated films ever.
No, that's literally what I've got written down.
Is it?
Literally what I've got written down. Just like a classic overlooked Disney cartoon.
It is. It's amazing.
Brilliant. The robot in it is just the funniest.
Oh,
and it's
I want
so
a Betamax.
heartfelt.
Yeah, I want him. I want Betamax. And I want those little robot things. I want to be able to fly around in the sky on miniature robots. That's the plan.
And it's got a great theme tune and it's got a brilliant message and it just doesn't go where you think it's going to. Oh, wow. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a double recommendation. Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about big heroes.
Yes.
We do Jumpstart January every January.
That is correct, Stu.
Hence why it's named Jumpstart January. And we run this event, roadshow, and we go around to the local area and we try to encourage and inspire people to take the leap into growing their business, or if they've just started, you know, building a really good business, building a business that's sustainable and does all the good things that we know a small business can do.
Yeah.
Well, in my talk, I give examples of people who have implemented marketing campaigns that have been a great success or helped and improved them. And we had a couple of large companies, and we wanted to show that you don't have to have a massive marketing budget.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You know, it's not about the budget that you spend on it. It's what you do with the budget that you have. Exactly.
So to that end, one of the best marketing campaigns that I've ever had pleasure to be told about and know the person who implemented it is our guest today. So maybe you would like to introduce our guests and we'll get her on and we'll chat to her about that. I won't talk about it too much more. Introduce our guest, Gareth.
Yes, well, she is of course, the Jumpstart January famous lady. She's also known as the car lady. It is the one, the only Lesley Howes.
Woo, Lesley Howes. Whoop, whoop.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Stuart. How are you?
I'm great. How does it feel to be a little bit of a local legend, a little bit of a local celebrity, and to be spoken about in hushed tones behind your back?
That's surprising.
So for our listeners, please explain what it is you do.
We supply cars and vans on lease to small and medium-sized businesses. So we take the hassle out of sourcing the vehicles for companies that really don't want to spend their days trawling the internet thinking that they're looking for the best deal.
So you're a leasing specialist.
We are, exactly.
Yes. It's called the Car Network, is it not?
Yes, it is. The Car Network.
Fantastic. So did you want me to, or would you like to explain to our listeners what your marketing campaign is? Because you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I do. Yes, I do. I'm happy to explain.
Go for it.
I'll explain it properly for you.
I'll fill in any blanks.
We got wind that a particular business was in the market for some vehicles. So wanting to stand out and make sure we got noticed, we got a remote control car. It was a Mini actually, wrapped it up and sent it with a letter to the managing director of the company, said company. And as a result of that and conversations, we supplied something like 15 vehicles over a period of time. So the ROI, return on investment, was massive, because I think the campaign cost about £30, £40 to send out. Noticed.
That's fantastic.
That's the kind of return you want, isn't it?
5,000% return or something.
Yeah, you could quite easily spend that on a digital marketing campaign to get a high value lead.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so you packaged up this Mini, remote control Mini, and you sent it out. Did you send the remote with it, or was that a kind of, if you
No, we sent the remote with it. We didn't keep that as a teaser. We just sent the whole package out just to draw attention to ourselves, and it worked, of course.
Yeah, amazing.
Of course, great fun around the office, apparently, having races around coffee cups.
But that's 100%. I mean, that's what I would have done with it. It would have been a straight away assault course bill in the office.
Maybe a mini jump between desks,
like the Italian job.
So where did the idea come from? Because it's one thing putting something in a parcel and sending it off and getting the meeting, but why that particular gift, and where did the idea sort of come from?
Well, originally at the time, my son was home having finished uni, I think, and we were just tossing around with the idea, what can I send? What can I send that will make me noticed? And we thought about sending out a tyre. I mean, in the end, Matthew just came up with, just send a remote control car. What a good idea. Why didn't I think of that?
That's fantastic.
And you've actually attributed it to him. I'd have taken that for myself.
I know I do when Gareth comes up with a good idea. Or maybe. But you see, this just shows that the gift, we know it as bulky mail or lumpy mail, gets your foot in the door, but it doesn't have to be hugely inventive. I mean, it's a remote control car, that takes some thinking about, but you know, anybody else could have done that. They could have gone and got themselves a remote control car, but you did it and you got the message. You got the meeting. Have you used any other marketing methods like this that have been successful?
Well, we've got our famous ice scraper. Have you got one of those?
I have got an ice scraper.
No,
Have you got
I've not heard of the ice scraper.
I should have brought one in here. I haven't got one to hand. We produced an ice scraper for some exhibitions that we were doing, and it's just become a standard thing now. Everybody always wants an ice scraper, and I get little messages on Facebook when we get the first frost from people taking pictures and, oh, the car lady's ice scraper, because my picture's on it. And it just says, with love from the car ladies. That's been a huge success. It's like a staple now. That's
great. I don't know if the inspiration, but I've heard of, there was, I believe it was a garage, I think it was in Ontario in Canada. And what they used to do is when the first snow came, or when the first frosty night came, they would go out that evening through the night and deliver as many ice scrapers as they could to people through their front door with this is a gift from this garage, you know, it's frosty tonight.
That's a fantastic idea.
And they got all the phone calls and people phoning them up saying my car won't start and all the rest of it. But
yeah.
What situational piece of marketing is
genius.
Simple, but it's not just the fact that it's the ice scraper, it's the teaming it up with when the person comes down in the morning and they need to scrape the windscreen, it's there in their hand. It's brilliant.
That's brilliant. That's very good.
It also reminds me of another car-related marketing campaign. Did you hear one about the Porsche dealer? I think this was definitely in Canada. And what he would do was it would take the Porsche and go and park it in people's drives and take photographs of it. And he would do this around all the, you know, nice houses in the particularly nice neighborhoods. And then he would send a personalized card saying, doesn't this look good?
Wow.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
That is such a
Absolutely
great
brilliant.
idea.
It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort, but you're selling a lot of car. So, you know, if you do what everybody else has done, you get what everybody else gets. As we say, you know, if you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got.
That's it.
So at the moment, Lesley, things must be a little bit difficult.
Well, yes, it's tricky at the moment. We can't deliver cars, so we can talk to our customers, and you know, we're open for business. Not everybody's been furloughed in the car trade. There are still people working, but until we lift out of lockdown, we're not able to deliver just yet.
No,
There are one or two enterprising garages that are advertising that they are starting to offer contactless deliveries. So that's quite interesting. We haven't
Yes.
done any yet. We haven't done any yet, but it's an encouraging sign.
Yes, I can understand it. And there's a lot to be said. There's an argument for that people in the car industry are key workers, because if the key workers can't get to work because of their cars not working, you know, and maybe not wanting to take public transport at this stage. So I read an article about it, you know, arguing that the car industry was, you know, filled with key workers. And
Well,
actually, when you think about it, yeah.
No, well, this is it. I 100%. My brother is an apprentice mechanic, and his place of work stayed open until sort of the last possible point, and then obviously furloughed everyone for the 3-week minimum period, and has now started to get skeleton staff, but staff back because they've had so many inquiries of people needing to get their car fixed and all of this. You know, it's so important to be able to be mobile. You know, if it's all very well everyone being locked down, but if I've got to rush out to the shop or something or the hospital and my car doesn't work, then what am I going to do?
Exactly.
Quite a lot of the large dealer groups have had certain branches, workshops open for just that reason. So they're keeping the essential workers mobile. They're not doing routine servicing, but they are able to do repairs to keep everybody safe and mobile, particularly the key workers.
Well, that's fantastic. That really is, you know, that level of dedication. We've seen it in quite a lot of the businesses that we either are networked directly with, or stories that have come through of people really being very selfless in their approach to this, both by going home. I said to my wife the other day, you know, we've all just done it. There hasn't been massive protests and arguments, maybe in other countries, but we've kind of all gone, okay, makes sense, let's do that. So I'm actually quite hopeful that the country can move beyond the mess that was Brexit and actually find a common ground. Anyway, we're wandering off the path and wading in some tricky deep waters.
Yes.
I
Light-hearted radio, Stu. Light-hearted.
Feel good radio. What I wanted to ask, it was a question that popped into my head. What's the oddest vehicle you've been asked for?
Oh,
that's a good one.
That is a good one. Probably the new VW electric camper van, which is a bit of an oddball, isn't it? There's a name for it. I'm not knowing very much about camper vans, never having supplied one. I can't remember what it's called, but
the VW Buzz. B-U-Z-Z.
Yeah, well done, Stu.
I certainly want one.
Haven't got them yet.
No, they're not delivering yet. I would put my name down immediately. I think they're the ultimate vehicle, because it's like a van and a car and a holiday thing, and it's electric. And as you know, I drive electric.
Really? I did not know that, Stu.
Literally every conversation. Sick and fed up with it, aren't you? Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. What would be your ultimate car?
My ultimate car.
Yeah.
I want to drive electric. I don't yet, because of the situation with our house. I'm not able to do off-street parking. But I would like to drive electric. And at the moment, I'm going around doing the research into which one I'd like to drive. I'm sort of favouring the BMW at the moment. I think that's quite cute and funky.
Which
is that,
one?
the i3?
The i3.
Yeah.
There's not much room in the back of them.
No, that is a little bit of a downside. They're quite diddy, aren't they?
The
You drive a
Tesla.
Leaf, Stuart, don't you?
I do have a Leaf, yes, and we got a very good deal on that. We discussed that. I'm a bit disappointed that Nissan, the second generation Leaf, it doesn't exactly set the world on fire. You know, it's a bit. I'd really want a Tesla 3 Series or a Y Series.
See, I think that is my only issue with electric cars is you look at an electric car and they look like an electric car, which sounds, I know that sounds silly.
They look like the future.
They look like the future, which I mean, they have that look. You look at like a Jag and you're like, okay, that's a really sexy car. And then you look at then like an electric car and you're like, oh, okay, it's not as sexy. That's my opinion. When they make a really sexy one, like the Teslas are, then I'll probably get one. There has to be a sexy
Are you saying my shoe looks like the vehicular equivalent of a croc?
Yes.
The range of electric
might be
cars
right.
is expanding massively, and we were expecting this year to be the tipping point. That's all been put on hold a little bit, I think. But yeah.
So yeah, is there
Coming.
see much demand from business for electric vehicles?
We're seeing quite a lot of business owners showing interest this year, particularly because there's zero tax to pay on an electric car. I see that as the start of it, really, because if the owner is convinced, then we'll see it, being accepted and adopted up for the drivers in the business.
Well, I absolutely love the Leaf, and looks aside, it's not only a much cheaper car to drive. We literally replaced a 10-year-old vehicle, and it was cheaper to run a brand new Leaf than a 10-year-old Dodge Caliber.
Yeah.
But driving it is such a pleasure. It just feels really planted. It doesn't feel like a milk float. It feels like a car that is quiet. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be going
very fast, aren't they, Stu?
Well, I couldn't possibly comment how quick they accelerate away from a traffic light. Lesley.
No, or overtaking someone on the A3 after a Jumpstart January event.
I don't know what you're talking about, Gav. So when are you going? You said you were going to go electric when they produce a sexy car. Well, the Y or the 3 Series from Tesla, Gareth.
So this is it. The only problem I have is a charging point. I can't get a charging point directly outside my house. Where my house is, we have like a private car park, which is away from the house. So I'd have to have something installed basically out on the street. So it's a bit of a nightmare. So it needs some investigation. But I'd love to do it. Or the new Jag, the 4x4 Jag.
The I-Pace.
Okay.
Yes, those on sexy car.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's
Yep.
Jag.
Yeah.
That's had some good reviews. Maybe we'll have to twist SiGNAL's arm to put in a charging port.
Yes.
Oh yes, you definitely should do that, Stu.
Bring
And then you'll encourage the drivers in the area to take up electric vehicles because they'd be able to charge them at work.
Yes, they would.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that
I
think
there are loads of charging points now. There's over 28,000 charging points now in the UK.
yes.
And in fact, there are more charging stations than petrol stations, apparently.
Wow.
That we reached that tipping point in November, according to Nissan.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Really,
And of course,
amazing.
most people don't realise that you can actually plug it into the mains. I mean, it takes a little while, and the size of the charging cable block makes a laptop one look small. But yeah, we plug it in overnight if you're staying somewhere, and you can charge it up from 20% to 100% overnight, easy. Yeah.
Just from a 13-amp plug, 3.3 pin plug.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So when we come out of lockdown, Lesley, do you think you'll be rerunning the electric remote control car?
Yes, I will, Stu. Yes, I will. We've been very busy working on our new electric car website during lockdown, putting digital touches to that. And that's going to be, or is, an information hub, really, for people to find out all they need to know about switching over to more sustainable motoring. So I'm going to be using my car to try and get in front of businesses with small to medium-sized fleets of vehicles who could benefit from switching over to electric.
That's fantastic. What's the domain name? I will bookmark it.
electriccarlady.co.uk.
Of course, it's the Electric Car Lady. And even more reason to send out a remote control car, because it's an electric car.
Electric.
Until you can afford a full-size one, ladies and gentlemen. It's lovely to have you on and to have a chat with you. We haven't seen each other for a little while, so it's always lovely to catch up. Thank you so much for giving me those lifts. Was much appreciated.
Pleasure.
What we do now is we have a little chat about things that are going on in the area.
Yes. And I think you said, Lesley, there was something going on in your area.
Oh yes. I live in Bramshott, and it's we don't have a centre. We're a hamlet really, but it's a very active village, and everybody's pulling together and helping each other. And there's an email that goes out once a week from the Bog Committee. Bog meaning Bramshott Open Gardens.
Right, yeah.
And we're doing a round robin of people's photographs during lockdown. So people send their photos in to the guy that's organising it, and they get sent round to the village just to relieve the boredom and let everybody see what's going on, along with a list of telephone numbers for support. So if anybody's needing a trip to the supermarket or the chemist, or want something collecting, or just a friendly chat on the phone, there's good community support, and it's brilliant to see this happening locally.
That's fantastic. And I really love that. Actually, Gareth, should we ask our listeners to send in a photograph of what they're up to between shows? The person who sends in the best photograph, they will get a free mug. I will give you a free mug. Design of my choice. It'll be a nice one. It'll be a nice one.
Just keep it family friendly, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. I've got some leftover mugs from a marketing campaign, so they'll be appropriately. I got them from Marks and Spencer, so they'll be appropriately.
M&S mugs. Wow, really pushing the boat out.
So if you have something funny, interesting, different, exciting, or inspiring that you've done between the shows, please send it to us. Where would they send it into, Gareth?
Send it to the work@signalborden.org email address, and then we can collate and then use them in our show next week if we get lots of people. So do send them in, because it'd be interesting to see what everyone else is getting up to. Or
upload it in the comments to the post.
Yeah,
you can do that. Yeah. And give us a little insight into what you're doing whilst this lockdown continues. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us this week, Lesley. Hopefully, once lockdown is finished, we can spend some time together, catch up over a coffee, and maybe come down to SiGNAL. It'd be lovely to have you.
Yeah, it'd be good to get you in for the hub. You know, so many people have joined from the Jumpstart January events. They're going to know who you are without knowing who you are. So it'd be good for them to put a face to a name.
Thank you. I'd love to.
Fantastic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is Feel Good Radio over. It's game over for another week. Half an hour just flies past.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thanks very much, Gareth. Thank you for coming, Lesley. If you've got any comments, please put them underneath the post or send us to them on that email address, work@signalborden.org. And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.